What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Kick-Ass Podcast. We are back here today to go over a few things before we look ahead to tonight's SmackDown show, which I believe is officially sold out, which is crazy good for the wrestling business as a whole and very exciting to see. But it's no brainer, right? I believe they're in Utah tonight. Yeah, looks like SmackDown is in Utah tonight at the Delta Center. WrestleTix rather reports no available tickets. Completely sold out with the current setup being 11,033, which is dope. Like I said again, for the wrestling business, it's very cool to see. And of course, obviously, it's a no-brainer with The Rock being heavily advertised and promoted for the show, and with the mega heat that this bloodline storyline is holding and about to introduce. I would say I'm expecting a lot from the show. That's what I would say. That's why I said that rather. I'm expecting a lot of angles and developments and clarification from tonight's SmackDown. I think, especially with The Rock looking to be at the head of the reins, no pun intended, of controlling this and the direction and the long term aspect of it. And again, guys, like I said in the past, like when I was all for, oh, we won Cody and Team Cody and all that shit, it 100% true, and it was never a fact of, oh, fuck The Rock or The Rock sucks or anything like that. Yeah, it's storyline Rocky sucks, right? But I mean, when I referenced and when I insinuated that possibly with him being back on, or not being back, but being added as part of the board of directors, the power and the control was something that I was pondering on and questioning on what we would see going forward. So that's where I was coming from, at least from my perspective. But as a whole and as a wrestling storyline, I think, like I said in one of the past shows, I think we should just commend, at least at the very minimum, WWE for, again, I don't want to say course correcting, but listening to the fans and going back to what we originally wanted and were gearing towards before The Rock officially got on board with things. So props where props are owed, right? Which again, like I said in the past, it shouldn't be rocket science or this big thing, or this big accomplishment just to figure out, hey, the fans really want Cody to face Roman and to finish his story. So let's just fucking go with that. You know what I mean? Like, let's just stick with the course that we designed and not deviate. So with the fact that The Rock has now been inserted officially into the Bloodline storyline, and this seems to be going in a completely new direction, but maybe a similar route with it leading towards Cody versus Roman. And I just seriously doubt that they're going to change their mind on that official main event, even if The Rock is involved in it. It's a tag team match. Because like I said, with that trailer that they put out, which is so well done, it's like 36 seconds, but it looks like a movie. It legit looks like a movie, which is no surprise with The Rock being the biggest movie star out there. But it's cool, stuff like that they're changing and doing. But regarding the tag team match, I think if they do go with that for WrestleMania, then it's obviously going to be on night one, right? But that makes me a little concerned with Seth. I hope Seth, injury wise, is going to be good. That was the beginning. It almost feels like forever ago now, but that was one of the concerns that we had going into WrestleMania to begin with, was when Seth got his injury and then Punk got injured and then all this is happening. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see whenever that tag team match does take place, because I think it's a given that it's going to take place. It's just a matter of, does it take place at WrestleMania, which with the trailer that they put out hyping it up for WrestleMania, I don't see how you don't do that. That's why I'm expecting a lot of answers, or at least a lot of answers in the sense of, okay, this is kind of confirming that we're heading more towards a tag team match for night one, and then Cody and Roman on night two. But I think just answers wise, I don't like us, or like I was gonna say, I don't think we're gonna get answers in the sense of, okay, this is official, this is set, but answers in the sense of, okay, this is the route that we're going in, kind of buckle in for the ride type shit. So I'm super excited for tonight's SmackDown. Like I said, on one of the previous shows, we did a brief rundown for the card, and I don't think anything has changed in regards to the matches for tonight. We still have all of the matches that are listed for SmackDown tonight are the qualifying matches for the Elimination Chamber. I'm trying to briefly pull up the lineup that they have here. I know we're gonna get Naomi in one of them. Oh gosh, who was it? Dun, 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 scrolling through their feed. Yeah, so for the men's side, we have Logan Paul versus The Miz, and then we have Kevin Owens versus Dom. I'm fucking love to hate Dominic, so I'm excited for that. And then we, of course, have for the women, it was Naomi facing off against Alba Fire, and then we'll have Zelina Vega versus Tiffany Stratton. I want to say that was different, though. I feel like they were promoting a different match for Naomi and for Zelina. I could be wrong, though, but regardless, that's as of 20 hours ago from this recording. That's the matches that they're promoting for SmackDown tonight for the qualifying matches, like I said, for the Elimination Chamber, which is, I believe, is like 2 weeks out, if not less than that at this point, which is crazy, man. Time flies, guys. Time flies. But with that being said, obviously, I expect a lot of developments from The Rock. I'm very excited to see how it all plays out, and I'm still predicting and hopeful, and I'm very hopeful for a lot of different reasons that Cody makes a surprise appearance here tonight. Surprise, since he's obviously not advertised. But and just fucking bum rushes The Rock and Roman, spears them. Let The Rock and Roman, whoever's going to do the majority of the talking there, and I think that will play a lot too, and that'll be very telling to see who the actual head of the table is. Does Roman still take his commanding vibe and presence, or does he kind of stand behind The Rock again? It was very interesting when they left the press conference that Roman was kind of walking a little bit behind The Rock, and then Paul Heyman was more so behind both of them, kind of looking at them to see who he can take direction and guidance from. So I'm very intrigued. That's why I said we're literally just at, I would say, chapter 1 of this new story for the Bloodline and with everyone involved, obviously with Cody. But I think, like I said before, this is going to be a long-term build to WrestleMania 41 for Roman and Rock. And I'm still 50-50 on if we get the tag match with Roman and Rock versus Seth and Cody at Mania. Who am I, right? To say like if it's a good idea or a bad idea for Seth health-wise. But that's just my main concern with night 2. You know what I mean? With if you have night 1, or if you just have Seth defend his title, maybe in the opener of WrestleMania night 1 against whoever it's going to be, most likely Drew, it looks like at this point, and who I'm hoping for. To give him time, because WrestleMania is fucking 10 hours, right? So give him time to go in the back, heal, and recover from that. And that could even play into the story going on, or play into the match with the tag team match later on that night, which is going to main event. So you have you have Seth and Drew McIntyre most likely, or even if it ends up being a triple threat with Seth, Cody, I keep saying Cody, with Seth, Drew, and Sami Zayn possibly being added in there as well, making it a triple threat match for the heavyweight championship. And then you have Rollins rest for a bit. And then, like I said, that could play into, is he going to be 100%? He's obviously not 100%. Is he going to even be at 50%? Is it going to be more of a handicap match for Cody in the main event? And then how could that affect Cody going into WrestleMania night 2? You know what I mean? If Cody goes in even more so as the underdog, or if Seth is severely injured in the back and he can't make it to the WrestleMania tag match main event, which I don't think they would do with it being WrestleMania. But there's so many different routes that they could go, right? But my early prediction is if they do go forth with the tag match for Roman and Rock versus Cody and Seth on night 1, I think with having Seth open the show, and imagine that, bro, right? I think he would have to be the first person to open WrestleMania and then close WrestleMania as well. So that would be fucking crazy and so cool for him. But I see the tag match. I could very easily see them doing that. And as I sit here and think about it and talk about it out loud, the fact that Cody could be going into the tag match as an underdog. Seth will still be there, but he's going to be very, very injured, and they're going to target his leg even more so in the tag match. And then Cody, and I don't even know who the victor would be at that point. I haven't even thought that far ahead. But the story behind the tag match in the main event of night 1 could be, oh no, like Cody was the underdog. He barely survived the tag match. Is he going to have anything left for the main event at WrestleMania night 2? And not saying going in there with an injury or anything like that, but just beat up, just sore. So yeah, that's my early predictions for that, and kind of the way I see SmackDown, and hoping the way SmackDown sets up the next 2-ish months for the WrestleMania build, and then the next year towards WrestleMania 41. But with that fun stuff out of the way, I do want to touch on a few contracts. Speaking of Drew, it has been updated that he still reportedly has not yet signed an extension or a new WWE contract, which is surprising. But I'm honestly not concerned, especially with how much fun he seems to be having in his new role, in his new heel character at this point. And of course, looking long term, with Punk going to be coming back, I can see, and Punk even mentioned himself like he wants to finish his story, with main eventing WrestleMania. But the first thing that he's going to be setting his sights on when he comes back after his injury and after the rehab for his torn tricep, was it tricep or bicep? I think it was a tricep for Punk. But recovering after all that, he's gunning for Drew. So that's why I feel like even more so, Drew is going to be in that main event, whether it's the main event or not. But he's going to be facing off for the heavyweight championship at WrestleMania Night 1, and he's going to win. My early money is on Drew's going to win the championship, leaving and be the champion leaving out of WrestleMania. That marks off that box for Drew as well, right? He was kind of snubbed out. I think it was WrestleMania 30. Was it 36 or 37? It was 36 with the pandemic. When he went in the Thunderdome that they had with all the monitors and stuff, and he obviously wasn't there or able to experience that moment in front of fans. So that'd be very cool for him. It takes the title off of Seth to give him some time to heal properly and just be a normal human being and spend time with his family. Obviously, Becky is still going to be, I assume, on the road, but with his daughter, and with Seth Rollins runs a wrestling school out in Illinois, and he has his own coffee shop. So he has stuff that he likes to do, even though it's still related to wrestling, but outside of WWE. So I think the dude obviously deserves time off, but I think this will kind of be like a blessing in disguise too. And it'll give his character some time off of screen too. That I think with wrestling more so probably than any other sport, absence makes the heart grow fonder type shit. So I think that's just gonna set Seth up very nice for his comeback whenever that may be. But you put the title on Drew and have him just go heavy and just be a badass heel for the next 6-8 months, setting up a return for Punk. Whether you want Punk to win the title from Drew or not, you can even have Drew hold it for the year. You know what I mean? I don't know if you want to have Drew and Cody both hold it for the year. Because again, my money is staying on Cody walking out of WrestleMania 40 as the undisputed heavyweight champion. I don't even know the full. I should know the name of it by now. But yeah, of course, my money is on Cody walking out as well. But in regards to Drew and his reign, I would say a minimum 6 months, if not even 8. But I would say I could very easily see it being a year, having Punk return at the Rumble. It's kind of already built in right there, so you don't even need to. But again, that's way, 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 way down the road. But just wrapping up my Drew thoughts, I think I'm not concerned with him leaving WWE, and I think it's pretty much a no-brainer at this point. They're probably just working on some money, and good for him. Get the bag, Drew. Get the bag. That man deserves it at this point too. But regarding talent and releases, I had referenced, or I don't think I actually referenced on the show, but with everything TNA Impact related and Scott D'Amore being removed from his position, I wanted to go over a letter that the talent has sent over to the upper management in TNA. And kind of reading over here is this article is from WrestlePurists.com, so shout out to them for the transcription and everything. But it looks like they pulled their sources as well from Fightful Select, so just to shout out everyone properly there. It goes on to read, on February 17, TNA Wrestling announced that Scott D'Amore's contract with the company had been terminated, with Anthony Ciccone, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, so apologies for that, becoming the new president. Reports have indicated that the decision didn't sit well with talent, and it now appears as though those feelings have yet to subside. Fightful Select has now been able to obtain a letter to Anthem that several TNA talent have signed off on, expressing their frustration that Scott D'Amore was pushed out of the company. It goes on to say, Lynn and Scott, TNA/Impact is not just our employer and the company for which we work. It is a family that each of us has grown to love and cherish and trust with our bodies and our careers. A family for which we feel deeply and that desire above all else to protect. We are deeply saddened by the decision to remove Scott D'Amore from the TNA Impact family. Scott is a brilliant wrestling mind that has guided this company and has a position to take the next step upward in our industry. Scott is also so much more than this. He is a trusted friend, confidant, teacher, advisor, brother, mentor to so many within the TNA Impact family. Scott has been the heart of the TNA Impact family for over 2 decades. And yeah, I think he was there from the beginning, like 2003. So it's still, that's what makes it even more surprising. Lynn and Anthem have been instrumental in supporting and building this company back from the ground up. The contributions of Lynn and Anthem have never gone unnoticed by anyone in the company, and we want to make sure Lynn knows this. TNA, simply put, would not have survived without Lynn and Anthem, not just financially, but with the undying faith in Scott and us to revive the company that was on the brink of death. Lynn and Anthem are the foundation that TNA has been able to build upon. We would not have made it back to this point without the both of you. The fans know this, and the TNA family knows this. We come to you to voice our concern for TNA Impact, our family, and its future and direction. We, like you, wish to safeguard what we have all worked and sweat and bled for to build. We want TNA Impact to continue to grow and to continue to be an inviolable place for all professional wrestlers to work. We understand and appreciate that professional wrestling at its core is a business and that the company must provide a fiscal responsibility, financially viable product. At the same time, professional wrestling is uniquely situated. The business of professional wrestling is so much more than balance sheets, downloads, and ratings. The wrestling business is and must be its people, its characters, and its storylines. That is to say, there is no wrestling business without the wrestling creative vision and the right people bringing the creative vision to life. To thrive, a wrestling company must both have an eye toward business decisions and its fingers on the pulse of creative decisions in the ever-changing appetite for our fans. It is in light of this concern and our desire to uphold the high standards of TNA Impact that we offered this letter. It is our desire to have a dialogue with you and with the company in an effort to protect the present and the future of TNA Impact for you, for Anthem, for the fans, and for professional wrestlers. We feel strongly that a wrestling person, quote unquote, needs to be intimately involved at a high level to ensure that the amazing company we have all built and product we have provided to our fans continues to grow and flourish. It is our opinion that the best possible person for that role was, is, and will be Scott, and that is underlined. We recognize that we do not necessarily know all the facts or details around the decision to remove Scott. In life, there is always the rumors, the opinions, and somewhere in between, the truth. We rarely get to know which is which. It remains our hope and desire that everyone can set aside the past few days and any hurt feelings or unkind words that may have been exchanged and meet to discuss a path forward that preserves the TNA Impact family we all hold so dearly. We remain steadfast and hopeful that this letter can be a first step to opening and keeping open productive lines of communication to ensure the TNA Impact family continues to be a wonderful, unique place to work for years to come. We ask and implore you to both come together and create a resolution that will reunite this family once again. We look forward to hearing from you and continuing this dialogue. Signed, your TNA family. Woo! Guys, and I wanted to touch on that really quick before we wrap up here and read that, just because with all the bullshit going on and all the disgusting things that we've learned about from wrestling management within the past few months, past couple years, what we speculated over the years, what we couldn't imagine even being true. This is so refreshing to see. This is so wholesome to see. This is it gives you a good feeling. And when I saw the letter was first circulating, I was like, oh, that's probably not, real. But it is. And of course, I don't know what talent are involved that sent this. It's signed your TNA family. But shout out to them for not just taking this lightly and really going to bat for their family member. Wrestling is a family. Even and you guys know this from your day-to-day job. You spend your time more so with your family at work than your actual family, during the week. So, and especially being a wrestler, it's 10 times that, you know what I mean? So the fact that they truly loved Scott this much to put all this time and energy into creating a letter and not just taking, oh, he's terminated as an answer and just moving on. Shout out to them, and it makes you want to be a part of TNA. It makes you want to be a part of the Impact company, and it makes you hopeful. You know what I mean? And again, we don't know the full circumstances. I myself don't know if it's been out there. I'm sorry for missing that. But it clearly was notated that Scott was terminated. So as long as there's nothing, I hate to even go down that route, but as long as it's nothing scandalous or that prompted and justified him being terminated, they absolutely should take this letter into account and really take a look on the inside, revisit why they terminated him. If it's a budget cut, you can cut elsewhere. But if this man means this much to this company, and obviously we from the outside can have an idea of speculation, but the wrestlers know who they can trust and who their go-to is. So the fact that they did this and put all that energy forward was just beautiful to see and refreshing. like I said, in light of everything that's going on in the wrestling world. So I just wanted to put that out there, and I just wanted to put a quick video, just kind of with my thoughts of everything from this week for you guys. Thank you so much again for checking out the show and listening and commenting and liking and just viewing it. I really appreciate it. Even if you don't like it or agree with my opinions, I appreciate you checking it out and at least just giving it a shot. So thanks again, guys, and we'll be in touch.